guys. I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are. Again, I'm so grateful that you guys are listening to my channel, to my videos, to all the INFJ stuffs, all the INFJs and non-INFJs that are on my channel commenting. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about crying. Now, when I was a child, I would cry at everything. I used to cry all the time. And again, as my parents, they try to make me strong. They're like, stop crying about every little thing. Why do you cry so much? And interestingly enough, they knew that I just needed to cry and let it all out. So they would kind of tell me to go to my room, do all my crying there, and then come back when I'm ready to be in the real world, right? So that's what I did. I'd cry in my room, on my own, get rid of all that stuff that I had to get rid of, and then I'd be fine. And I'd go back out again as if nothing happened. Now, it worked out really well for me because I really did not want empathy. I did not want sympathy. I didn't want people to pity me. I didn't want people to tell me, oh, everything's going to be all right. I just needed to get all this shit that was inside of me that I'd been accumulating. Because as a child, I was a major empath, and I'd kind of accumulate all the stuff that was going on around me. Accumulate, and then eventually it would be like, oh my god, it's too much for me to handle. I need to let it out, cry it out, boom, you're done, and then you move on. And the next time, when you're overfilled again, you cry again, you let it all out, and then you move on again, right? As time has gone by, and I've told you guys I am better at dealing with my empathic nature. I know how to control myself. I know how to make sure that I don't let it overwhelm me, right? Before it does, I run away. I move back to my room and I hide from all these people who are trying to put stuff into us, right? But I've noticed something about myself in terms of emotions now, and I don't know if it's true for you guys, but it's weird that sometimes I am absolutely unable to cry at some things that everyone else is crying about. And I've said this before in a different video, I think. I'll be at a funeral and everyone is crying. It was actually my grandfather's funeral. I loved him. He was a great guy. He was really kind. He really took care of me. He was really nice. I really liked him. And so we're at his funeral and everyone else is crying. And for some reason, I could not bring myself to cry. Now, also because death is something that I'm like, it's not a bad thing. It's fine. Everyone dies and it's all right to die. It's not a big deal. I don't think of death as a big deal. But also because I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel sad for him. I loved him, and he was dead now, but I knew that he'd come back in a different life, and I'd see him again sometime in the future, somewhere in a different lifetime. I wasn't sad. So everyone else was crying. It was a big deal. Everyone was bawling, and I was just totally fine. And I was looking at myself, and thinking to myself, am I crazy? Why don't I feel sad? Why don't I feel anything? I was not able to cry. I pretended to be sad and around everyone else, but I wasn't really. Now, you probably think I'm a psychopath. It wasn't that I wasn't feeling bad for him, but I wasn't so sad I could cry over it. I knew that he was gone. I knew that I was gonna miss him, but that was it. It wasn't that much of a big deal. And that's probably what's gonna happen at my funeral. No one's gonna be crying. But anyways, moving on. But at little things, tiny baby things. For example, I was walking down the street in India, and I walked past, even just thinking about this right now makes me want to cry. I walked past this donkey. We have a lot of animals in India, obviously, roaming around. And I walked past this donkey, and he, oh God, I don't know what happened, but one of his hooves was cut off. I guess it must have been an accident, something happened. And so, and he was walking, and he was, obviously limping, and he was obviously in a lot of pain. I couldn't do anything about it because I was in a bus, and we were walking away, and we were driving away. I just saw him briefly as we were driving away. Couldn't do anything. Oh, God, guys, I cried a lot that day. I cried more than I ever cried before. I was in pain, because that donkey was obviously in pain. He was in absolute pain. Ugh, I just want to cry. But it was so sad, okay? Now, if you compare the two scenarios, this donkey is some random animal I just saw passing by, and I'm crying, bawling my face off for him, her, whatever. And my grandfather, I've known him for almost a lot of my life, and he dies, I don't cry, not even a little bit. Now, if you look at these two scenarios, you're going to think that I'm an insane human being. But that's the way I think INFJs are. We cry at the small things. But for some reason, the bigger things where we're supposed to cry, you're supposed to be sad right now. When people tell us, you're supposed to cry or supposed to be sad, you're supposed to cry at a funeral Or you're supposed to cry when, some at random some things. Like, I'm not gonna cry at those things. First of all, because you're telling me that I need to cry, I'm not gonna cry because that is insane. You can't tell me or dictate to me that I should feel something right now. I hate that. Also, it's like the big things like death and all that stuff don't really bother us that much. It's the little things that matter to us more. I don't know how to explain it sometimes. I wonder, I've tried to explain it to my family because a lot of times they tell me that, I don't feel anything for them. I do feel at the smaller levels, when they're hurt or they're upset, I feel it. But at the bigger things, I don't really care that much because, first of all, I feel like we're here to do all these things. We're here to get hurt and learn from it. We're here to deal with death and learn from it. We're here to do all this stuff. This is our work. This is the work of being a human being. We're not here to dilly-dally and have fun and be positive and happy all the time. That's no fun. We're here to do all this stuff. So when someone actually has to deal with all of these things, these hardships or whatever, I'm happy for them. Because what's going to happen with that? They're going to get stronger. They're going to get wiser. They're going to learn so much about themselves. They're going to move upward and onward. And that's awesome. I am happy for them. I am not sad for them. And so when someone has to deal with this kind of stuff, it's important. It's important for your growth. It's important for your work as a human being. It's important for your growth, for your movement towards that path of enlightenment or whatever you're trying to move towards. And so that you can learn and then grow. And then in the next reincarnation, you'll be a little bit wiser. You'll be a little bit more of an old soul and you'll know more, right? That's the whole point of this. And so when people are upset that, they have to deal with hardships, I think to myself, but why? This is the whole point of it. Did you think that you were going to lie on the beach all of your life and not deal with anything sad? No. This is the point of being here. Otherwise, how are you going to grow? How are you going to learn? How are you going to become better? How are you going to become the best version of yourself in this lifetime? If you don't have to deal with anything that's harsh, if you don't have to deal with anything that's negative, you don't have to deal with all this stuff that we're here to deal with. It's the way that we become stronger. It's the way that we become that beautiful version of ourselves that we're meant to become before we die off and we do it over and over again, right? And so I don't feel empathy for that reason, I guess. And it's also, I guess, my philosophy that I love this kind of stuff because it really helps me see deep within myself. It really teaches me about myself. It actually teaches me how strong I am. And the more I realize the stronger I am, the better I feel about myself, right? I hope I'm able to explain to you guys properly what I feel and what I'm trying to convey. It's really, really important that you understand this because one of the things that you're going to have to explain over and over again is the fact that, why aren't you crying? I get this question all the time. My dad recently was a little bit sick and, everyone else was crying and weeping and I think to myself, oh my God, I should really try and cry, but I could not because I wasn't sad for him. Because I was happy because I think to myself, thank God we discovered this in time and so now we can fix it. And that was my main thought. Thank God we can fix it. Thank God he's still alive and we can fix it. We can go to the hospital, get it fixed. He's going to be back to normal before we know it. And that was my main thought. And I was happy. Because otherwise, he could have just died without us ever knowing. But I was so grateful that we found the problem, fixed it, and now he's healthier and happier than ever, right? So that's weirdly enough how I look at situations. Perhaps it's not an INFJ thing. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just insane. But I wanted to make sure that I shared this perspective with you guys because I know a lot of you guys have this issue as well, where you're constantly explaining yourself to other people. Why aren't you crying? Why aren't you sad about this? Why don't you care? Why don't you love me? Why don't you really, really show me what your emotions are? I don't sometimes feel them. So sometimes, a lot of times, people think that we're sociopaths or psychopaths because we really come across as having no emotions. Some person's going to be crying, bawling their face off in front of me. I'm just sitting there, feeling nothing. Also because I've controlled my empathic nature, but also because I don't think that anything that they're crying about is that something they should be crying about. They should be happy about it, that they're dealing with all this stuff. Oh, God. Ugh. Anyways, this is how I am. This is how a lot of INFJs are. So we just have to deal with it, and we just have to learn how to explain it to people. It's not that I hate you or that I don't like you or I want you to suffer. I just know that this is what we're here to do. Or, I'm sorry, but I can't cry over it, but I do still empathize with you. I don't know how to explain myself. Sometimes I think to myself, people are probably going to think I'm insane anyway, so what's the point? My parents always think that I don't care about them because a lot of times I'm not able to cry when they are crying, or I'm not able to cry at certain things when they're upset. And so they think that I don't care. I do care, but not in that manner. Yeah. It's a hard thing to explain. I don't even think I did a good job in this video. But let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know what your perspective is on it. I love listening to, hearing from you guys on the comments or messages. I love it all. Thank you so much. Keep it all coming. If you guys don't want to post directly on the comments, you can email me directly at boomshikha@themillionairehippie.com. The link or the email address is in the show more in the description. So you can email me directly if you have anything specific you want to talk to me about. Okay? I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.